Sirens were still screaming when she ran out of her house with a baseball bat. Not scared, not confused, angry. She stood in front of the ambulance and yelled, "Turn that thing off! You can't park here!" I was already kneeling on the ground, trying to stop the bleeding from a man who had collapsed in his driveway. I looked up and said, "Ma'am, this is an emergency." She raised the bat higher and said, "I don't care. HOA rules. Move now!" People started coming out of their houses. Phones came up. The patient's wife was crying, holding his hand, begging me to help him breathe. I reached for my kit again, but Karen stepped closer, the bat almost touching my shoulder. "You're blocking a fire lane," she said, smiling like she had power. "I'll have you arrested." I stayed calm, even when my partner whispered, "She's crazy." I had seen worse than crazy before. Then she did something that made everyone freeze. She pulled out her phone and said loudly, "Yes, police? A man is trespassing and pretending to be a medic." She pointed at me like I was a criminal. The patient started shaking, his breathing getting worse. I looked at Karen and said, very slow, "If he dies, this is on you." She laughed. "You people always say that." I noticed something most people didn't. The HOA sticker on her bat was fake. The badge around her neck was plastic. And the "No Emergency Parking" sign she was standing under was not even city property. I pressed a button on my watch, not saying a word. My partner looked at me, confused. Karen took another step forward and whispered, "Last warning. Leave or I swing." Behind her, the sirens suddenly went quiet. And that's when she realized she had just threatened the wrong person. The silence felt heavy, like the whole street was holding its breath. Karen turned around, confused, thinking she had won. "See?" she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "They're leaving." I didn't answer. I just kept my hand on the patient's chest, counting his breaths, feeling them fade. His wife grabbed my arm and whispered, "Please, don't stop." Karen tapped the bat on the ground. "I gave you a chance," she said. "Now I'm calling my HOA. Security." She waved her phone again, like it was a weapon. A black SUV rolled in fast and stopped behind the ambulance. Karen smiled. "That's them," she said. "You're done." Two men stepped out, wearing dark uniforms, trying hard to look official. One of them shouted, "Step away from the patient!" Karen crossed her arms, proud. "I told you," she said. "Nobody breaks rules in my neighborhood." The crowd started murmuring. Something felt off. Their patches were wrong. Their radios were silent. No plates on the SUV. I finally stood up and looked straight at them. "You boys lost?" I asked. One of them reached for his belt, acting tough. "Hands where I can see them." Karen laughed again. "Arrest him," she said. "Teach him a lesson." That's when my watch vibrated. Once, then twice. Down the street, real sirens started coming back. Louder this time. Karen's smile slowly faded. "That's not for you," she said, pointing at me. But her voice wasn't strong anymore. The two fake security guys looked at each other. One of them muttered, "We should go." Karen snapped, "No, stand your ground. I pay you." The sirens grew louder, fast, and angry. 3 police cars turned into the street, lights flashing. Right behind them came a real fire truck and another ambulance. Neighbors stepped back. Phones were shaking now. Karen took a step away from me for the first time. A police officer jumped out and looked straight at the scene. The bat, the fake guards, the man on the ground. "What's going on here?" he shouted. Karen rushed forward. "Officer, thank God you're here," she said. "This man is pretending to be a medic and blocking HOA emergency lanes. I was protecting the community." The officer looked at me, then at my uniform, then at the open medical kit. "Is that so?" he asked. I didn't argue. I reached into my pocket and showed my badge. Not a police badge. A county emergency services badge. The officer's face changed. "You're the paramedic who saved my brother last year," he said quietly. Karen froze. Before she could speak, another officer walked straight to the fake security guards. "IDs," he said. They had none. One tried to walk back to the SUV. The officer grabbed his arm. "Don't!" Karen started yelling. "This is harassment!" "I run this HOA!" The patient suddenly gasped hard, his body jerking. His wife screamed. I dropped back down and started working again, fast. "Clear space," I said. And this time, everyone listened. Karen stood there holding a bat. Surrounded by flashing lights, realizing the rules she loved so much were about to turn on her. The fire crew rushed in, taking over the airway while I kept pressure on the wound. The second ambulance rolled closer, exactly where Karen said no one could park. No one asked her permission. The patient's color slowly came back, just a little. His wife cried again, but this time from hope. One of the medics looked at me and said, "Good call, Stang." I nodded. My hands were shaking, but I didn't stop. Behind us, things got ugly for Karen. An officer gently took the bat from her hand. She resisted. "You can't do this to me," she shouted. "I make the rules here." Another officer replied, calm and cold. "Not today." The fake HOA guards were already in cuffs. Turns out they had been doing this in other neighborhoods, too. Towing cars, scaring people, taking cash. Karen knew them well. Too well. Then the twist she never saw coming hit her hardest. A city official stepped out of one of the cars and looked around. "This street is not under HOA control," he said loudly. "It never was," the crowd gasped. Karen's face went pale. She screamed, "That's a lie!" The official pulled out documents. "You forged notices. You blocked emergency services. And you filed a false police report." They read her rights right there, in front of everyone she used to scare. As they walked her past me, she looked down and whispered, "You ruined me." I looked back and said, "No, you did that yourself." The patient was loaded into the ambulance, alive. His wife grabbed my hand and said, "Thank you for not leaving." I watched the doors close, sirens fading into the distance, the right way this time. Later that night, as I packed my kit, a neighbor walked up and said a line I'll never forget. "Funny how people who scream about rules forget the most important one. Humanity." I didn't save a life that day alone. I helped take back a neighborhood.